Hello, hello. Oops, let's get that a little bit straight. So I'm going to be doing some binding today, and I decided that I wanted to kind of mark out my jig here so that, and I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if any of this is going to work, friends, but mark it out so that I could see better what's going on underneath. And then in a second here, when I get done marking this out, I'll tell you what you're gonna need or what I pulled out and my thoughts, ideas on how this is gonna go. So I've got my jig here, and you can see that it's got two like spaces in it that I'm going to cut out because my plan here, well, I have some muslin fabric, I have some spray starch, and my little iron. I've got some bamboo skewers and some other spacers that I'm going to use on the inside. I've got my Fiskars rotary cutter. I've got my finger knife. I've got little clips. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to start to make the holes in my signatures. So I have my signatures here and I've marked them off top front just so I know which one goes where. And this jig fits these exactly. So I'm going to open up the first one. Well, I'm going to attempt to open up the first one. Come on. You can do it. Make sure everything's centered in the middle, straight, and I'm going to lay my jig on top. Make sure everything's lined up, and then I'm going to take these little clips and I'm just going to clip it together so it doesn't move on me. And now I'm going to use my jig here and cut with my knife through all the papers in the signature. Carefully, I just put a fresh blade in here. It may take a couple of cuts. That's okay. That's why I made a jig. Okay, here's one. And these are 1 inch from the bottom, 2 1/4, 2 1/4, 1 inch from here. So see how it went through here? That's not very straight, but it doesn't matter. I'm not going to make a huge issue out of it, but if I want it better, all I need to do is let me grab something that'll fit here and just kind of work as a barrier and give me a place to guide my knife. That looks good. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of this. Is make it up as you go, friends. Oops, that didn't get very straight. Let's try for straight this time. And I have 8 signatures total. Some a little thicker than others. That one really got crooked. Hi, Kristen. Hi, Pam. Okay. So there's my first ready to go. Again, it's not perfect, and I'm not going to make a huge deal out of it. Remove my clips. Remove my jig. This one because it's done. I'll just clip the done ones and put them aside. They're not right in my way. Some of these are going to be more difficult than others. Try and be more careful with the next one. Make sure these are all straight. Bring the jig down. Make sure it's nice and straight. Nice and even on there. I want to try something different here as far as trimming the. Where'd my other clip go? Good thing I took them all out. Oh, I clipped the page with it. Of course I did. Okay. Let's try it with the Tim Holtz. Scoot that over a little bit more. One, two, three. Flip it over. Okay, shopping sounds like fun. You guys actually have like a place to go, right? Like a scrapbook type place. You guys should see one area of this room. It's full, the floor stacked, stack of stuff that I'm getting rid of. And I told Mike he needs to clear out a space in his garage so I can put it all down there and get to it easily when it's time for my sale. Okay, I think that went a little bit better. We're going to find out here in a minute. Where are you hung up, mister? Cut through there. You cut through there. Let's find out. There we go. See if that one's any better. A little bit. A little bit. Good. Have fun. Find cool things. One, two, three. Let's get my tweezers. It'd probably be easier to get those out with tweezers than trying to take them out with fingers. Okay, and if I flip it over, I can see where the cut hasn't gone through. So I can go ahead and give that a little bit of a nudge. There we go. Good morning, Delise. I'm gonna have a yard sale because I don't have the energy to ship and package up and do all that. I just don't. Okay, that's two of 8. This one's kind of thick. It's gonna be tricky, but we'll get it. Sure everything's straight on there. Yeah, it can, and I just don't have the energy. So anything that doesn't sell is going to get donated to a local shelter that supports our Humane Society and for homeless animals, for the cost of vet bills and stuff like that. Although nowadays it seems like I was listening to somebody talk the other day, they pass that cost along to the adopter, but a lot of the pets don't get adopted. And I'm sorry that it's not a no-kill shelter, but it's the only one that I could find locally. I don't want to drive to another city or, something like that again. I don't really have the money or the wherewithal. And the way I can tell it's gone through is it feels smooth. I can feel the cutting mat underneath. I probably could use my ruler to do this and get a straighter cut, huh? Sure. And so this is about a 1/4 inch bigger. I plan on doing the fabric in 2-inch strips. Oops, try not to rip that, ding dong. This is thick because I have texture paste and everything else on it. Okay, whoops, sorry about that, camera. The rest should just pull right out. There we go. Oh, that's nice to do that in someone's name. That's 3. I'll probably maybe ink these before I, and let me just tell you what the plan is so you kind of have an idea. The plan is with the strips, I'm going to use these skewers as spacers on the outside because I don't want them real tight next to each other. And then on the inside, I made various sizes of spacers because I may want to glue the fabric down. I may want to do other things with it. So I'm going to use these as spacers in between, you know, when you do like an accordion style, and then glue it later because it'll take a long time for the glue to dry. If I glue, I might sew. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. This one's going to be probably a little bit on the tricky side because it's got a very, very thick signature page in here. So I'm going to put this on here so it's even, and then lay it flat. See, even getting it to lay flat is tricky. Not afraid of a challenge though. Say that now. That further out so I can fit that ruler in there. As flat as I can get it. Okay, where did I put the ruler? There it is. Okay, that's all the way through. Already my wrist is getting sore from holding down the ruler. I'm such a big baby, huh? Such a baby. Mm. Yeah, I probably could have designed a better plan, but this is what I came up with in the last minute, basically. Girl, that's a pretty mean fart. see what I got out so far. Let's flip it over, work from the other side a little bit. You can see that one didn't get very centered. That's okay. It is what it is. Oops. Don't rip, brat. Where are we here? Like I said, this one is going to be a little bit more difficult because I've got some pretty thick going on here. Pretty thick happenings. Almost there on this one. I think this is the thickest one I have. Barely got that one. I'm not worried about where it's ripped up there. I don't care. It's not a big deal. Let's see if I can get this through like this. See, this one's off center, but it'll be fine. I really don't want to make myself worried about it. Come on, baby. You can do it. You can do it. There. Phew. That one was a fight, wasn't it? See, it's off centered. Oh well. Yeah, dairy doesn't love me either. Yeah, I know about the sneeze peas and the cough peas. Heck, I just got over a long bout with laryngitis and bronchitis. So, yeah, real familiar with that whole thing. I'm making a mess here is what I'm doing. Let's kind of clean that up a little so they're not in the way and I'm not accidentally cutting through more than I actually need to. This one might be a little bit on the difficult side too. We'll find out. Mostly just getting everything centered. Line that up. I can see that it's lined up there. Whoops. There's a reason I put that there. And this is the reason. Okay, that appears to be lined. It started bothering me in my 20s, and I found out through a banana milkshake, and I love banana milkshakes. They're my favorite. But I'd be willing to pay the price if I'm going to drink one. Oops, that flat side down. Okay. Here we go. This washi tape is coming up on me. I probably didn't really need it, but it kind of does help because it's a 1/2 inch. And so I can line it up right here and it'll stay lined up. Well, as long as I hold the everything steady. Okay. Yes. I just had breakfast before I came on because Mike calls me up and he was out doing an errand. He's like, hey, can you make me some breakfast? I said, well, my live's at 9 o'clock. How long till you're home? He says 15 minutes. So I'm like, okay, I'll run down there and make you some breakfast. I made myself some. And he didn't get home for another 45 minutes because he got sidetracked with Costco and the job. He had to make a stop and pick up some scrap. Of course, I wasn't happy with him because, you know, a cold breakfast means it's not going to taste that good. And I, you know, pride myself on my cooking. I do, I do, I do, I do, I do, I do. I'm just sort of digging there, and then I'll flip it over and sort of dig from the other side and see if that's easier, if it works better. Get that in a sec. So I made potatoes and sausage, you know, frozen stuff, nothing big. Morning, Jim. Okay, let's flip you over. Let's see. Yeah, I didn't even make it down to the end. Dig that out. Well, that one was at least more centered than the other one was. these thick signatures. Dig you out of here. There. Phew. We got 3 more to go. And they're fairly easier ones, as you can see. They don't have a bunch of thickness in them. Come on. Skin is so dry. Okay. Line up. Hopefully these go quicker. And then I'm going to show you a jig that I bought years ago for quilt making. To cut my 2-inch strips. It is fabulous. It just hit me again, Delise. Farted and it hurt your back. That's pretty explosive. Don't do that in public. I'm too old to be doing that because you just don't know. It's not something you can trust anymore. And if I like the way this turns out, then I'll save this jig and use it again. If I doubt, then I'll throw it away or use it for something else. Kristen, it just popped in my head like things do. I was watching somebody else and she was doing the normal accordion binding, and the main thing that I liked was it had 2 instead. You know how I know I've made one before where you make the accordion thing and then you shove the thingies, the holder pieces in. This one you won't be able to take apart. So there's that. Because I'm using the fabric and I'm in some cases going to glue it in, some cases going to sew it, some cases going to do who knows what stuff. I'm going to do stuff with it. Because I have a template that will cut these for an A2 sized muckety muck. Words are hard. An A2 sized journal. Back. Uh-oh, I lost my sticker. Where's my top? There it is. Let's make sure that there's no words in here. Okay, there are, so this needs to be the top front. So I'm losing it because this is all embossing powder. Okay, two more. These don't have anything particularly thick in them. So the idea is that the fabric will come through here, and I'll use some sort of a spacer. So it'll kind of come up, come around the spacer, come back down in, and then go back up through the next one. If that makes sense. And then I'll either cut it or leave it in a loop. I haven't decided yet. These are things that I can decide later if I want to. Let's check you. Oh, I know I can see that I've got the bottom straight, so I'll start at the bottom. I think it's going to work, and I think it's going to be neat, but we'll see. It's not very straight, so it's not a big deal. The page probably isn't straight, period, like cut straight. My washi tape's flipping all over the dang place. Took me a minute to figure out how I might do these pieces. Let's be half an inch, okay? Don't move on me. My arms are getting tired, I can tell. Yeah, like I said, it's an experiment, Kristen, so it may not work out. And if it doesn't work out, I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I'll just figure out something different. I'm not too. I'm trying to keep my life less stressful. So if things don't work out, I'm not going to be mad. I'm just going to figure out something different. I need to figure out a better way to do what I'm doing here on these ends. It's really kind of the most crooked part of the whole thing. Oops, I keep bumping my camera. Sorry, folks. Maybe I'll try and do it from the outside here. There. One more. Yeah, I experiment so you don't have to. Okay. This one's a little bit on the thick side too, but it's only thick here. So I've made this like that. Is this the middle though? Make sure it is. Okay, yes it is. Line all those up. Hmm. I can see where I'm going to run into an issue, but I'm just going to deal with it when I get to it. I'm kind of excited for this journal, just because it's going to be, you know, a very intense one, like not like freaky intense, I like just with a lot of detail. And different kinds of detail, different kinds of like stitching and things like that. That's not centered. I'm just gonna let it be. Let it be. Let it be. And it's tricky doing something like this live because, you know, you don't know if it's gonna mess up or not. Bum, 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 bum. It didn't go all the way through there at all. And my tip of my knife is already broken off, so hope I don't step on that with my bare foot. There. Okay, got my signatures done. Now, what I have here, and get that all out of my way for now, is I have, this is a quilt, a very expensive quilting ruler, and it's got lines in between it. So I can take, just move this crap out of the way. And when I iron, I'm going to take this off because it'll warp. Dadgummit. I got junk in the way though, so let me just move everything. It does need to be nice and flat. And I can take my fabric, and I do it too thick. 2 inch 2 pieces thick. Let's see here. I think I'm gonna go, because it also doesn't have to be perfect. Let's just fold it this way. When I find myself in times of trouble, and I want to cut this off to a manageable level, and you can see that it's, I've been tearing at it. Oh gosh, it was probably 30 bucks, maybe 40. I don't know. And that was 15 years or so ago. Straighten that out. I don't know how much I'm going to need. I'm going to kind of flatten that out a little bit. Let's get you out of the way. So this is still too long. No worries. I will fold it like so. Make sure it's relatively flat. Yeah, it was a lot. I remember it was a lot, but so I'm just gonna line this up. Move this over here a little bit. I can see that it needs to be lined up a little better. And don't worry, anything that I don't use on here will still get used. I'm just gonna fit this in between and just, I might need a new blade. Okay, so now I can zero it out, and then I can go to the 2-inch mark. I want to move it up a little. I may be where you can't see me. Line that up. Hey, Diane. Yes, I have multiple expensive rulers too. I'm just gonna rip for it. Didn't cut. I need a new blade for my, let me see if I have one. I have small blades, but I don't know where my big blades are. Where my small trimmer is. No idea. Where are you? I don't know. I didn't know. So I'm probably going to need about 4 strips, maybe not that much. But again, this will get used regardless. And if I was doing a signal thickness, I wouldn't be having this problem, but I'm impatient. I don't want to. Because it's too long, then I'd have to trim down my pieces, and I need them to be long. The longer they are, the less I have to sew them together. Not necessarily, no. But if you like, I just haven't used this in years because I haven't worked with fabric, in this capacity. think I got it. Mostly. And this isn't thick fabric, it's just muslin. I could just use a pencil and draw it on there and then cut with the scissors too, but my hands would get too tired. And down here, line this up. It's a little crooked, but I'm not gonna stress. Let me try going backwards and see if I have any better. No. It's moving on me is what's happening. Just that tiny bit. No biggie. Okay. Yeah, remind me I need new blades for this. Mostly anymore, I just rip my fabric, so. If I need more, I've got it right here. Just cut more. All right, so we want to remove this thing. So I do not want to warp it. This thing doesn't warp. Well, it can, but it's not going to. Okay, just move some of these scraps. Let's get the iron hot. Right way. And get it all the way hot, and then I've got here just a tea towel that I use for ink. Yeah. So and I want it to look rustic, and I'll probably, rough it up even more. But the reason I'm starching it is so that it's easier to feed through those holes. And I'm not afraid to use a little bit of starch. Isn't that adorable? Thanks. Hopefully I haven't wrecked it. Doesn't take that long to heat up. Oops. And if they scorch, they scorch. I don't care. I got it pretty wet there. See, so it's kind of stiff now, and that's what I'm looking for. My iron's not quite hot as it should be, but I think I can go a little bit easier on the starch. This I use for crafting, so there's a lot of sticky stuff on it. I have a dedicated iron for, sewing, but it's a big iron. See, it's not perfectly 2 inches, and in some places it may fold over a little bit, and I'm good with that. What I'll do is I'll do this one and it's still got wet spots, and then I'll do it again just to make sure it's nice and dry and nice and stiff. Right, that's right. They do add to the vibe. I thought about dyeing the fabric first, but I just decided it's not necessary. I can get it dirty with ink if I want. Now I'll come back over in any spots that were wet. The iron's nice and hot now. I used to have this tiny iron from a company called Clover, and people who sew and especially quilt and stuff know what I'm talking about. Its little iron head was only about that big, and it was looked like a soldering iron almost. But for doing applique and stuff like that, I lost it, or I probably gave it away because I do that. So the idea here, where's my first page? This is my first page, is to start out here. Open it out. Grab the end here, feed it through. I want to leave quite a bit on the front and back, so once I decide how I want to cover this, I might want to leave it so it goes over about that far. And then I want to place some sort of a spacer. Let's do a big spacer on this one. And feed it back through. Yep. I need to get, now here I need to get the fringe off so I can feed it through easier. And I may have to actually add some glue to the end. Open this out, feed it back through. And so now it has this spacer here. So if I decide that I want to just glue this down, I can cut it off here and glue it down. And then I want to have spacers on the outsides, and these I'll take out. They're just there for a spacer. So it'll go like so. Because I want plenty of room to, you know, put a lot of crap in here. I think this is going to work. Okay, let's do another strip here. Yeah, I don't know. I lost it. I put it, listen, when I have closets full of sewing things. When I say closets, I mean more than one, with giant totes in them, full of fabric scraps, notions, implements, presser feet, you name it. I have shape templates. And believe it or not, that's the first time I had ever heard of a die cutting machine, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was basically sold and marketed to die cut fabric shapes for applique and quilting and stuff. I bet Delise probably remembers even what that machine is. I just don't remember. But I used to follow Fons and Porter, and um, they had a magazine, and then they had a YouTube channel, TV show thing. I may need 4 of these. It just depends on how much space I leave in between. Let's go back and iron it one more time. AccuQuilt is what it was called. I remember now. And it would go ahead and just die cut all your squares or half square triangles or whatever perfectly what you needed. So that was my first time ever seeing any kind of a die cutting machine. Yep, it was the AccuQuilt. Okay, so Let's start from the inside and work out this time. No, I want to work from the outside in. But getting this little fringy one is going to be a little tricky. I could cut the fringe off, you know, like don't be a lazy bones tee, but I don't want to. I'm just going to fuss with it. What was I thinking? I wasn't. Okay, no problem. Let's keep these kind of the same length here. Ish. Good enough. Close enough. Move that out of my way for a minute. Just gonna have to trim. Yeah, it did. And that's how it works in my brains. These aren't really fabric scissors, my spellbinder scissors, but they work. See, now I can kind of tighten those up. Close this. Where'd that come from? Take and put my little jig in here and go grab my next signature. Sure, I have top front. No, twist up. Go. It's working, you guys. So I'm very happy about that. Okay, and then I think I'll just do 1-inch spacer, and I've got this little ruler here. It just depends on what's in the middle of how much space I want to put between. Oh, hey, Maddie. Thank you for lurking. So I can either put a paper spacer in here if I want to be able to take things in and out. I can cut these open and glue them down to the page, or just do whatever fun thing I feel like doing with it. I don't know if I have these in the right order. It doesn't matter as long as they, no, I want a blue one. I want a blue one. Let's get this fatty one. As long as the top fronts are all in the right place. And they are. Tore up that piece of paper, didn't I? This one I'll definitely want to glue because this piece of tissue paper wants to be a jerk butt. Come on. Okay. I've got here one and a, oh, let's do it. I think this is a 2-inch piece. This is just some chipboard I cut up. Come on, you little booger. So this isn't exactly sewing, but it is kind of sewing in a sense. Get our spacer straight here. Get this edge straight. And they don't have to be absolutely perfect, friends. Okay. I'm liking the outcome though. See how it's going to look here with those spacers in there so that I have plenty of room to chunk this thing up. Okay, next signature, we'll go this one. Let's double check each time. Top front, okay. So it's likely I'll need 2 more strips. Since there's 8 signatures and I have 4 in here and I plan on, you know, spacing most of these out. Some wider than others. Come on. In there. Let's do See, this way, if I have those spacers in there, I can glue, what I need and wait for the glue to dry without the whole thing going wonky on me. Okay, next. Top front. Get in there. Well, this is pretty easy after you do all the initial measuring and cutting. I think I want to do, not sure about my spacer here. I see what you did. You get yourself back where you're supposed to be. Um, Thinking this through. I think I only want a 1-inch spacer here. Do I have another 1-inch ruler? I'm sure I do. What's this? Nope, that's not a ruler. Oh, okay. Work. Oh, I get it out of here. Nope, I can't. Okay, no problem, no problem. Let's just get the cutter out. Okay, 1 inch and 1.5 inches. That works. No, I want the inch here. Dang it, Bobby. See how nicely it will flippy flop. Here's what that's going to look like. So that's enough space in between. Oops. Don't lose your little guy. I may have to go through and tighten these, which is fine. I don't mind. Got 3 more. Let's do this blue one. No, I just did a blue one. Let's do this pink one up front. All right, what's being a dork here? Not being in the right spot. There we go. Yeah, I'm so happy that it worked. I'm like the A team. I love it when a plan comes together. But I'm probably gonna have to stop here and iron a couple more strips and stitch them on. I mean, I could glue them, but I would rather stitch them so I know that they're secure. Um, I have two more signatures. I imagine, you know what I can do? I think I can do it with what I have. I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. Well, get yourself in the right spot here, mister. Well, that's going to be a barely, but it'll work. Definitely these will have to be glued down here. Especially once I put a spacer in there. So in order to hold them while I flip this thing around, I'm just going to put a couple of these little clips so they don't come apart, fall out. Oh, oh, tweezers. Whisper words of wisdom. Come on. Even though I want another cup of coffee, I probably shouldn't. I think the last one yeah, I think I still want a spacer in there. But I can. Works. Where's the stinking middle? There it is. I'll put a small spacer in this one. Or, you know what, maybe I will just stick those down. Yeah, I think those will get stuck down. I'm not sure where I want to stick them down yet. For right now, I'll just clip them down. Okay, so there. Yeah, it's true. It is Friday, so I can have the cup if I want. So all I have left to do, friends, is to connect all these together. Maybe like this one here feels a little loose. Let's put the spacer back where it's supposed to be. Once I have the spacers in, it'll kind of help me gauge if I have these spaced apart enough. And it looks like I do. I just don't want them spaced apart too much. This one here is a little bit much, but I can just make more thicker stuff in there if I want to. So that's it. I'm going to be doing gluing from here out, and that's boring because I have to wait for the glue to dry in between each. And I'll be using Fabri-Tac. Oh, let me get it. And especially since I don't have a lot of hand strength, so I'll be doing a lot of grunting and groaning. Let's go ahead and just glue these ones down. I thank you guys for coming and hanging out. See, I do not love working with Fabri-Tac, by the way, just so you know. And I'm not going to glue it all the way down. That way I can hang things off it or sew on the edge of it or do whatever I want with it. I will clip. Get that in between there. Just to, you guys, I had my clippies here. Just to kind of hold it down. And that's, you know, actually in reality going to take a good 24 hours to dry sturdy. Yeah, I like the smell of it. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me is I have trouble squeezing the damn bottle. I like the smell of nail polish and nail polish remover and gasoline and all those caustic things, so go figure. I'll give that an hour or two to get dry. I can probably do the back side too if I want to. That way it holds. Because remember, I did this. Let's do that so it has sticking glue too. I can't smell it right now. I'm just kind of doing it loosely and not all the way to the center because I don't want to accidentally glue somehow, you know, glue my pages together. In fact, I think I should probably start it on the fabric. Come on. Yeah, some people Fabri-Tac gives them a headache. So I've heard. Okay, just let that dry. And I won't be here next week for Friday because I've got that doctor's appointment, and then I don't know about Thursday. We'll see because I'm gonna be having my yard sale on Saturday, so I'll be prepping. But I hope you guys like my idea. I'm so glad it worked. Ish. We'll see, you know, when the when the journal starts coming together if I have to do any modifications. And I might, and that's fine. I don't mind. So for this, I could stamp on it, I can fray it, I can trim it off, I can do whatever I want with it. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Um, all the things. I'll see you around the rooms. Don't forget to visit everybody's YouTube channel, which I don't link because I don't have a moderator on here. Well, my moderator who went shopping, I think. She must be driving while Delise is watching. Oops, let's shut off my iron. Don't need that on. Thank you so much. I hope for the best. What did I melt? Did I melt something? Nope. Yay. It was right next to my Teflon bone folder, but it didn't melt it. So that's good news. All right, guys, take care. Don't forget to do those things.